Here we are. We're at it again. Who's going to stop us? Not me. We are going to look at Daniel chapter 5. We're going to split everything. We're just splitting the chapters into half so that we can have a nice long time studying all this material. Daniel chapter 5 is about Daniel. But that's kind of a big deal because the past two, last chapter, was the last chapter about Daniel?
Not really.
No, Daniel was in it, but it was about Nebuchadnezzar. It was even written by him, right? I, Nebuchadnezzar, is the way it's written. This one is going to be more about Daniel, but still it's kind of also about somebody else. So that's kind of neat. All right. Well, let's get going. Open up your Bibles to Daniel chapter 5 and open up your pages to blank. I guess you don't have to have a blank paper. You can be filling up an old one. I will not get so angry that I explode this time. All right. All right, we just got done with Nebuchadnezzar, and we ended with Nebuchadnezzar, and I gave him a nice heart in his beard, which is not the right place to keep your heart, but you get the idea. And we gave that to him because he ended with this saying, I love God statement. I mean, it made it all yellow because Nebuchadnezzar just said some really great things about God and that he is the one who lives forever and ever, and his dominion is everlasting, and all the earth are nothing compared to God, and no one can say to God, what doest thou, or what are you doing? Nebuchadnezzar really became this believer in God, and that's really exciting and impressive. And now we are going to look at a king in chapter 5, and his name is not Nebuchadnezzar. It's Belshazzar. Belshazzar. So that's a new king, right?
Sounds a lot like Belteshazzar.
It's similar to Daniel's name, Belteshazzar. And so Daniel and this guy have similar names. It's kind of interesting. So this is Belshazzar the king. Now here's something that I'm going to go ahead and say. They're going to talk about Nebuchadnezzar, his father. But something that's really important to remember is throughout the Bible and in old times, when people talk about somebody's father, let me get my tie straight. When they talk about somebody's father, it wouldn't necessarily be his actual dad. Sometimes Jesus is called son of David, right? Yeah. Is David Jesus' dad? No. Jesus is here, and David is the great. I don't know how many greats it goes until you get to the great-great-grandpa David. But they would still say that so-and-so was your father. Father Abraham, even though Abraham died a long, long time ago. And so what's going on in this, and people have found historical records to make this make a little bit more sense. Belshazzar is assumed to be Nebuchadnezzar's grandson. It doesn't make that big of a difference, but I think that that's interesting. This is Nebuchadnezzar's grandson. And so that means when Nebuchadnezzar was ruling and about this old, Belshazzar might have been this old. Not a baby, right? But he was a kid, right? Now, is Belshazzar a kid?
No.
No, he's full grown. He went from being just a little baby spoon, he grew past being a fork, and now he is a knife. He's a grown man. And that's what's going on here. So Belshazzar is the king. Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords. Oh my goodness, that's a great feast, right? And drank wine. I'll underline 1,000 because that's a lot. They drank wine before the 1,000. And so now you can draw 1,000 cups of wine. Okay, no, you can't. It's one of you is going to prove me wrong. Well, I can draw 1,000 cups of wine. Sure. But the point is, here is all this wine, and it's a big party, and it's hooray, and that's what this guy is doing. Okay. Oh, there are the cups of wine. Hooray, yay. Belshazzar, whiles he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels. That means cups and things, right? Which Nebuchadnezzar, his father, had taken out of the temple, which was in Jerusalem. What did Nebuchadnezzar do to the temple in Jerusalem? He destroyed it, and he stole all the stuff out of it. And now here's Belshazzar, his son or his grandson, asking to take all those things. Okay, here's the temple, right? And Nebuchadnezzar took gold cups out of it, right? That's what Nebuchadnezzar did. And now Bel wants those cups at his party. What do you think about that? Why would Bel want these cups at his party?
Are they special?
I think they'd be special, right? Well, what do you think if they were in God's temple? Do you think God just said, oh, just make me some paper Dixie cups? No. They made really special things for God, right? And so these might have been really special, and Belshazzar wanted to use them. And what would it prove about Belshazzar if he's using these cups? Or what would it make it seem about Belshazzar?
That he was so great.
Yeah, that he's so great. I can use other people's special things for my own parties. Does that make sense? Even the stuff they used for their gods, I can use. So, is Belshazzar proud or humble?
Brad.
Proud. He's throwing a party for 1,000 lords. He's pretty proud, right? All right. So, come on, wake up. There we go. All right, so they took him out of the temple in Jerusalem, that the king and his lords, his wives and his concubines might drink therein. So he wants to drink out of it. He wants the lords to drink out of it. He wants his wife, not wife, wives. He's got a bunch of ladies and his concubines, his extra wives, so that they can drink out of them. This is a proud dude. This is a proud dude, full of himself. And they brought...
Have extra wives.
What?
What does the extra wives mean?
He just had more ladies than he should have had. Does that make sense? He had a wife, he had more wives, and then he had extra ladies. He's a sinner, is the idea. And they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of God that was in Jerusalem. Think about this. The golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of God that was in Jerusalem. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. And the king and his lords and his wives and his concubines drank in them. Do you remember how sometimes things get repeated over and over again to show how big a deal it is? So here we have the king. Oh, we better draw him. I haven't drawn him yet, right? I'm going to give him a little pointy beard and a mustache.
Maybe you could have his nose turned up because he's proud.
Oh, because a proud nose. Yep.
Proud nose. You could draw his eyelids turned up. Yeah, like.
I don't know how to draw that. Oh,
And like proud,
And like
hands on hips.
pointing at himself.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, pointing at himself. Look at me. And he's got in his hand one of the cups. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at me. I'm so cool. And then you got lords and wives and concubines.
Mr. Dan, what are concubines?
Those are the extra wives, the extra ladies that he shouldn't have had.
Oh.
Not just too many wives, but too many extra ladies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a very sinful way to live. He's just taking all the girls for himself. All right, so here he is. Look at me. Oh, boy. I'm Mr. Cool Stuff. Hey, yeah. All right. And they drank wine and praised the gods of gold and of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone. So think about this. Think about this. This is what's really sad. Here is a cup that was made for the priests to use in the temple of God. And it might have nice decorations on it, right? And so this is for Yahweh, for Yahweh's temple, for Jehovah, Lord God's temple, right? But they are drinking, and here's the wine jumping out to go into their mouths, right? They're drinking it. And why are they drinking it? Who are they drinking it for? Well, they're definitely drinking it for themselves. But who are they honoring when they drink out of these cups? Are they honoring Yahweh?
No.
Not at all. Who are they honoring?
The king. Belshazzar.
The king Belshazzar, and
The
they
other
praise
gods.
idol gods. Gods of gold. All right, so maybe I should draw this one out of, well, I don't have enough colors. Here's a god of gold. There's a god of gold. All right, and god of silver. Here's a god of silver. Here's a god of brass. Here's a god of iron. He looks like an iron girder. There's an iron girder god. And god of wood, all right, he still has a leaf sticking off of him.
Emperors.
Frozen.
Oh! Sorry. And a god of stone. And there's a rock. Okay. So what, I don't care about my iPhone settings. Settle down, phone. What do you think about this? Here is Yahweh. Well, it's not really Yahweh. It's just a cup. Where is Yahweh? Where is Jehovah? He's up in heaven. Right? And they're using it to worship an idol made out of gold, silver, brass, iron, wood, and stone. How do you think God feels about that? They're using God.
Jealous.
Say what?
Jealous, like a righteous jealous.
Yeah. They're using God's special things. And it's not just that they're using them selfishly, they're even using them for evil purposes, not just evil my own ideas, but I'm going to worship an idol. It's really bad. This is really selfish and ugly. And so they're basically getting drunk, worshiping idols, using God's stuff. Can you imagine that? This is terrible, terrible, terrible. All right, well, let's see what happens. Now, here's a question. Nebuchadnezzar, remember Nebuchadnezzar? We just studied him the other day. Did he know about Jehovah, Lord God?
Mm-hmm.
He did, right? We drew him with a heart in his beard because he knew God. Do you think Nebuchadnezzar would do this with these cups? I don't think so.
No.
But crazy old Belshazzar didn't learn from his dad, didn't learn from his grandpa, did he? Yeah. All right, we're going to keep reading. Verse 5. In the same hour came forth the fingers of a man's hand and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. All right, so what did he see?
A hand.
A hand. And what is the hand doing?
Writing.
On the wall.
Writing on the wall. Have you ever heard the phrase, well, the handwriting on the wall? Have you heard that phrase outside of Bible talk? Even people use that. That's the handwriting on the wall. Well, the idea is that here is a sign. Now, most people draw the hand like a finger pointing like this, but I'm going to try to do it where it's like scratchy claws, because I think that would be fun. Because do you remember how the story goes? How does Belshazzar feel when he sees it?
Scared.
He's scared. So I'm going to make it scary claw hands.
That is scary.
Oh, my light turned off. All right, we're fine. Claws. And I'm going to have it scratching.
Ooh.
Because are they doing good things?
No.
No. Are they getting a good message, do you think, if they're doing bad stuff? No. So I'm going to make the message seem scary. Okay. Yeah. All right, let's see if I can get my light to turn on. Yep. Okay. Now we're going to read how Belshazzar reacts to this, and then we'll draw him on the board because this is fun. Then the king's countenance was changed in him, and his thoughts troubled him, and the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees knocked one against another. The king cried aloud to bring in the enchanters, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. Remember these kinds of guys from earlier in the book? Basically, the magicians who would tell him what it says. And the king spoke and said to the wise men of Babylon, "Whoever shall read this writing and show me the interpretation thereof shall be clothed with purple and have a chain of gold around his neck, and shall be third ruler in the kingdom." I did that voice because I think he's scared. All right. This, bippity-bop. Erase this. All right, so now we got to draw Belshazzar. Let's see. I gave him a little pointy beard. He's got an upturned nose because he's full of himself. There's that mustache, right? All right, so that's Belshazzar. It says, well, what are the descriptions that we get of Belshazzar? Can you remember?
Countenance change.
His countenance changed. What does that mean? He forgot how to count? He had to count different?
No.
You forgot how to count.
His face, right? Before, he's drinking wine, and then he sees the handwriting. Something like that, right? All right, so I'm going to do an open mouth. His mouth is open. What do you think his eyes are?
Here.
Here.
Yeah.
Do scribbly and big.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Hey, do his crown jumping off his head.
Okay.
Do his crown jumping off his head. Make his.
Ooh, his crown jumping off his head. That is a fun idea. Hold on.
What if you make like swirls in his eyes?
Oh, yeah. Swirly eyes. Even.
I made it so that. What about swirly eyes? I made it so that the balls fell off his crown.
Oh, that's fun. I made him bald. It's always fun to make people bald. They get embarrassed by that.
What if you make his eyes swirly?
Well, I don't think I don't have the space to do it on this one. But that's a good idea. All right, what else did it say about him? There's some funny descriptions.
His knees knocked together.
His knees were knocking together. What does that mean? He's scared, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what do you think his arms are doing? It says, my translation says, the joints of his loins were loosed. That means his whole insides are like.
Oh. Mine says.
I think his arms are probably up in the air.
Mine said,
Yeah, that's what I drew. I drew his arms in the air.
mine said the joints of his hips were loosened.
Yeah.
What about him stiffly trying to point to things while narrating what he's saying? But he almost can't control his arms.
Yeah.
He's like this.
All right.
My
there you
arms
go.
feel super tense.
So you guys thought Nebuchadnezzar was fun. Belshazzar is a whole lot of fun to draw. Look at that goober. So one of the lessons that we learn is if you take God's stuff and ruin it, you're going to get scared. Is that do you think that's a true lesson?
Yeah.
If you take God's things and you mess with it, something's going to happen. You're going to have consequences and you're going to be scared. That's a big deal. I don't know if a hand is going to scrape words on a wall, but it did in this story. All right. Let's keep reading. You guys can keep drawing crazy old Belshazzar. I got to wake up my phone. We will keep reading. All right, so one of the things that Belshazzar says is in order to get somebody to interpret it, he kind of needs to make a reward. If anyone can interpret it, you'll get a purple robe. And you're not allowed to say, well, I don't like purple. No, purple is that'd be a fancy thing. You get a purple robe. You get an awesome gold chain. People are still wearing awesome gold chains with big decorations and things on them today, right? Bing, bing, bing. Look how cool that is. And you'll be third ruler in the kingdom. You'll be important. So do you think the guy said, oh, yeah, I'll see if I can interpret it. I'll do this. What's happened in the book of Daniel so far when everyone needs to try to interpret something? Can they do it?
Nope.
No, no one ever can except for
Daniel.
Daniel. All right, verse 8. Then came in all the king's wise men, but they could not put Humpty Dumpty together again, but they could not read the writing, nor make known the interpretation. Then was King Belshazzar greatly troubled, and his countenance was changed in him, and his lords were perplexed.
Oh.
What? He's greatly troubled again, and his countenance is changed again. Okay, let's make him even more scared.
Hey, Mr.
How
Dan.
is that possible?
What I think is, I don't think he's scared.
Make him fainted.
Hey, Mr. Dan.
Yeah?
We forgot to make his thoughts troubled him.
His thoughts troubled him. How about, okay, first I'm going to put tears, sweat,
Oh,
really making him look really gross looking. All right, and then I'm going to do purple thoughts, like a purple
you could
paper.
do a lot of trouble, the word trouble a lot around everywhere with explosions and dust and bangs.
Yeah, that's a good call. I hadn't noticed that. So there, Layla, that's his troubled thoughts. It's a purple haze coming out of his brain skulls. All right. So first you have to draw him greatly troubled, and then you got to draw him greatly troubled. I don't know. This poor guy, he's having it's hard to be king. Or just don't do terribly evil things and it might be easier, right? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go back to him. All right. Now, the queen. A lot of people have some ideas about this. Some people think that the queen would be his wife, right? Because the king is married to the queen. But
He's got a lot of
also, but the wives were already part of the drinking party, right? So a lot of people think that the queen here is this idea of the queen mother.
Nebuchadnezzar's wife.
Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar's wife or something like that. And so I think based on what she says, that's probably true. So it's not I don't think that this is a wife. It could be that this is a smart wife. I think it's a smart mom. Whatever it is, it's a very intelligent woman. Right? This is a woman and she knows what to do. All right. I think it's his mom. Come here, Sonny. That's how all moms talk. No, that's not true. That's not true. All right. Now the queen, by reason of the words of the king and his lords, came into the banquet house. The queen spoke and said, O king, live forever. Let not your hearts trouble you, nor let the countenance be changed. There is a man in the kingdom, in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. Who's she talking about?
God.
No, she's talking about a man in whom there is the spirit.
Oh, sorry. I thought you had just read Holy Gods. So
I see. Yeah. She's talking about Daniel. Remember how Nebuchadnezzar said that Daniel had the spirit of the gods in him? And in the days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, was found in him. She is saying that this Daniel guy is pretty cool. And the king, Nebuchadnezzar, your father, the king, I say, your father. Do you see how much she's hammering this home? Nebuchadnezzar thought this guy was big. The king, your father. The king, I say, your father. Made him master of the magicians, the enchanters, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. For as much as an excellent spirit and knowledge and understanding of interpreting dreams and showing the dark sentences, dissolving of doubts, were found in the same Daniel, whom the king named Belteshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and he will show the interpretation. So this is what I think is happening. It could be the wife. It could be the wife, but I think it's mom. Mom comes in and says, look, your dad or your grandpa, Nebuchadnezzar, thought Daniel was something special because he had good spirit, knowledge, understanding, interpreting of dreams, showing of dark sentences, dissolving of doubts in Daniel. Here's the question. Where is Daniel right now? Why doesn't Belshazzar use Daniel? If Daniel was so good during the time of Nebuchadnezzar, why isn't Belshazzar using him? What do you think, Kiva?
By now he would probably be already dead.
No, he's not dead yet. That's a good guess, though. He's still alive.
You know, like, I think maybe Belshazzar had been doing, like, crusades and stuff all that time.
He's been doing what kind of stuff?
Like, he had been, like, doing crusades and going all over the place and stuff.
Yeah, just doing all sorts of bad things. Yeah. I think Belshazzar didn't want to listen to Daniel because Daniel would always tell him, hey, that's a sin and that's wrong. And he got rid of Daniel.
Mr. Dan.
And here comes the mom saying, no, you need to listen to Daniel. Yeah? Yeah?
I think Daniel wasn't at the party because it was sinful.
That's true. Right. And so she is trying to get Belshazzar to invite Daniel. Invite somebody who is good and honorable and true. Right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read a little bit more, and we'll pick up with this next time. I don't want to take too much longer, but I think that this would be good to read a little bit more. And I want you to think about the way Belshazzar talks to Daniel. Does Belshazzar speak with humility or does he speak with pride? Okay? Then was Daniel brought in before the king, and the king spoke and said to Daniel, are you the Daniel which are of the children of the captivity of Judah, in whom the king my father brought out of Judah? I have heard of you, that the spirit of the gods is in you, and that the light and the understanding and the excellent wisdom is found in you. And now the wise men, the enchanters, have been brought in before me, that they should read this writing and make known to me the interpretation thereof. But they couldn't show me the interpretation of the thing. But I have heard of you that you can give interpretations and dissolve doubts. Now, if you can read the writing and make known to me the interpretation thereof, you shall be clothed with purple and have a chain of gold around your neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. What do you think about that? Is Belshazzar... Go ahead.
Daniel is already really powerful.
Yeah. Daniel is supposed to already be powerful. So what does this guy have to offer him? That's a good point. He's maybe trying to give him a gift that he doesn't really have to give, maybe? Could be. What else do you think about Belshazzar?
He thinks he's so great.
When he's talking to Daniel, he says, are you from the captivity of Judah? And Judah is the place that had a temple, and he was drinking wine out of the temple things from Judah. And here comes Daniel. You think that's a little bit awkward?
I think he's scared.
That right? This is how he feels when the hand's writing on the wall. And now here's Daniel. It's kind of a big thing.
Daniel
All right.
would be though.
I'm going to stop here for now, but this is where we'll pick up next time. But what questions do you have? Somebody said something and I missed it. I'm sorry. What questions do you have?
Can I show my picture?
Oh, we'll do that later. Anybody have a question about this? What do you think about this guy?
He's very scared.
Yeah, he's scared.
And proud.
Yeah. Do you think what he did was all an accident? Do you think he was just doing accidents, or do you think he was doing this stuff on purpose?
On purpose.
Yeah.
Mr. Dan.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that maybe if Nebuchadnezzar was still around there, he would be like disappointed in him.
I think so. We're pretty sure, most of the historians think that at this point Nebuchadnezzar has died, but you're right. If Nebuchadnezzar was still around, he would be disappointed in this kid.
Did he die?
Yeah, he died, I'm pretty sure.
From
All
age or sickness?
I don't know. You can look it up on Wikipedia, maybe. I don't think it's listed in the Bible. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to sign off there, and I will see y'all soon, and we'll figure out what's going to go on with Crazy Knock Knees. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.